Hi guys, welcome to my channel Final Beauty, or welcome back. I'm Debbie if you don't know me, and in today's video we're going to be playing with the Melt 420 palette. This one here. So I've had this palette, gotta be 2 years I think. It was purchased, made when it first came out, and then I just didn't use it, which is the story for quite a lot of the palettes in my collection. So I'm going to start a series where I do finally using my whatever palette it is. And yeah, we're going to start it with this one. So you might own this palette, you might not. I know a lot of people are put off of it by the bad reviews, but if you don't, then I'm sure you can find other colours in your collection to dupe the look we're going to do. If you have got it, might give you a chance to pull it out and get some use out of it. So without further ado, I'll scooch you in and we're going to create a look with this palette. Okay guys, so if you're not familiar with the Melt 420 palette, this is the palette. It's a grungy brown, yellow, green colour story. It's really pretty. There's only one shimmer. I think that's what's put me off using it. That and the fact that the reviews were terrible, that it's not the good melt formula people have said. Well, I tend to use my palettes in such a way as that I try to see the positives in them. It makes me probably a bad reviewer because I don't try to look for anything negative in it. I try to work with the formula in whatever way to try and make it work for me. So that's what we're going to do today. I've spent my hard-earned cash on it, so we're going to get some use out of it. I will give you some thoughts along the way, but it's not like it's a new palette or it needs a review anyway. So yeah, without further waffle, we're just going to do a look with it. So when I was thinking about what to do today, because I never know what to film, and I said to my husband, what colour eyeshadow shall I do today? And his first thought always when he thinks of a colour, because he's not into colourful makeup, is yellow. I was thinking, what palette do I have that's got a yellow in it? But this colour here, Wax, this looks really pretty. So we're going to use this yellow, and I want to combine it with this grungy kind of greeny colour. It's called Chronic, so we're going to use that as well. Don't know what else. We'll probably bring in a couple of blending shades as well, but that's kind of the plan for today. And I'm not going to use this shimmer, so it's going to be an all matte look, which I don't do very often. So going to prime first of all with the MAC Soft Ochre paint pot. Prime just the kind of top part of my eyes. Going to stay away from my lids as much as possible because I'm going to do a cut crease. I don't want a million layers of concealer and primer, otherwise it gets a bit nasty, so I'm going to try and avoid that. So guys, how have you been? And those of you that are trying to be good, not buying makeup, making makeup purchases, how's that going? For me, what's the date today? Something like the 20th, is it? 21st, something like that. Not bought any makeup yet, and I was saying to my husband, I've been such a good girl, I've not bought any makeup, and he goes, it's only been 3 weeks, Debbie. And I was impressed with myself for that, and he's like, for a normal person like that's, you know, a normal situation. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not doing as well as I thought, but yeah, for me that's quite something. So no makeup purchases at all in 2022, I can say at the moment, can't I? So been tempted by a couple of things, but not bought anything yet. Trying to wonder whether to go in with the deep shade first or a blending shade first. I think I'm going to start with that Chronic shade. We're going to see how that goes. So I'm going to take that through the crease, all the way through the crease. I'm going to do a rounded kind of look, but I am going to sort of do a cut crease because I want that yellow to be really prominent. So just going to really pack that shade into the crease. No problem so far. I think I don't have problems with melt shadows because I'm not anybody that likes to really blend too much. So I think people say they blend away or has too much fallout. I don't know. I can't think why people didn't like this one actually. I think it was to do with the blending, but I'll probably be alright with that because, as I say, I'm not really somebody that spends a lot of time blending. I've never really had a problem at all with melt shadows, but isn't it funny how if you're influenced by other people, like I'd already bought it, then I watched some reviews and everyone said it was awful, just didn't want to use it then, which is ridiculous. You've got to make up your own mind in these things. If you've already bought it, it's silly not to use it, isn't it? But yeah, yesterday was the first time I've been tempted to actually buy some makeup. So I was tempted to start with on the Bridgerton palette from Pat McGrath. You guys know, if you've been here before, how much Pat McGrath I've got in my collection. I really went hard for Pat McGrath last year, getting a bit of fallout, but nothing terrible. I'm not a fan of the show. I've never, well, I don't know whether I am, I've never seen it, so it's not because of that that I want it, it's just because it's Pat McGrath, it's in beautiful packaging, and it's limited edition. That kind of always gets me a little bit, kind of the whole FOMO thing. If I don't get it, I won't ever have it for my collection kind of mentality. So I managed to resist the first time around, and then got the email about the restock yesterday. And I spent the whole evening, I put it in my cart, I put the Bridgerton 10 code in, which gets you the 10% off, so it would have been £45 delivered. You don't pay anything else on top of that to import from the Pat McGrath website to the UK, so £45 isn't too bad for a Pat McGrath palette. So I'm almost talking myself into it now. But no, I didn't buy it. And then today I was telling my husband about it, saying I really, really want it. But I don't want to spend all of my quota of my 10 palettes that I'm allowing myself for the year too early in the year either. And he goes, oh, just get it. If you really want it, just get it. He's no good. He's not a very good influence, is he? But I haven't got it. Not so far anyway, not as I'm filming this. Okay, I've packed that into the crease. Might need to go a little bit higher with it, I think, actually. Because I want to do a cut crease, and I like to cut my crease high, we need to see quite a bit of that green shade above the natural crease line. So I'm trying to see where my crease will sit when my eyes are open. I like the tone of this though, proper murky kind of colour, which I'm all about that. Alright, I'm going to blend the edges as we go up to my brow. I'm thinking either dank or hash. I think hash actually, I'm going to use this one. Whenever I've got imprints in a pan, I never want to ruin the imprints. I've been really careful not to take too much shadow at a time. But these people that have palettes that look practically destroyed, you know, and they want to pan them and yeah, use them all up. I like to keep mine looking like they've not been used. It's funny. Oh yeah, we've got quite a harsh line over that Fornax shade, but I don't really care. The overall look will look alright, I think, by the time we're done. I'm not having too much trouble. Don't think it's any different to any other melt shadows I've worked with so far. And granted, I've only used 2 shades. As I said, I think a lot of time preference for shadows depends on the techniques that you use and your expectations as well. Not many shadows I've not been able to get along with. There's only one palette that comes to mind that was absolutely awful, that I'm not a declutterer, but I could declutter that one because it's just terrible, and that's the Morphe 35i. I think in my whole time of buying eyeshadow, 3 or 4 years that I've been buying eyeshadow like a demon, that's the only one I've come across that's truly unworkable with. Like, it just dusts away, it's just awful, but it is a pastel palette. But no, this is workable with, this is fine. I'm just doing 2 or 3 layers of this hash shade just over the area of the transition between the 2 shades, that chronic shade and the hash shade, just to help with that blend. I mean, it's not perfect, but it won't be because I'm a rubbish blender anyway, so. Right, I think I'll do the cut crease on the lids before I do the lower lash line. I don't normally do it that way, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Not done a concealer cut crease in a while, so pray for me. I'm going to use the Conceal and Hydrate by Revolution cut crease brush from Sigma, and I'll play some music while I do this. Could go well, could go terrible, we will see. Right, cut creases are on, not the best I've ever done, I have to say. So we're going to go in with the wax shade, and I'm pretty much going to put that over the majority of my lid, I think. Might have been better if I'd have used a white concealer rather than a creamy coloured one. But I think it's going to go okay. Just going to take a few layers to get that opacity. I always find that when I'm using a matte shade on the lid. I'm going to take it about to there, and then I'm going to use the brown shade, roll it to go on the outer corner. Got some fall down onto the lower lash line, but that's okay. As usual, I didn't go up high enough with the deep shade, so I'm just going to emphasise that. It's always fixable, you know. I do that every time. I underestimate how far up I need to go into the crease with the deepest shade. And for a cut crease kind of look to look dramatic enough, you need to go high enough. Give yourself that eye space. Just using a bit more of that hash shade just to blend in here. In the outer corner, because I was going to go all over the whole of my lid, but I think we've got enough of that yellow, so I'm going to go with Roll It, this one here, in the outer sort of corner area here. That one's got some fallout, so I'm going to take the tiniest bit at a time with that. And really tap my brush off. Pretty colour though. Brown. Like it much better now I've got that brown in the outer corner. I always like a deepening shade in the outer corner. I try to do these light ethereal sort of looks, but I always prefer it deep and dramatic. So I'm just going to run the chronic shade, the greeny shade we started with, the lower lash line, and just connect up here, nothing complicated. Using sort of a fluffy pencil brush. It's a JH52 from Jacqueline Hill and Morphe. In the front part of my lower lash line here, I'm going to use the shade Shotgun, this green. Thought it might just bring a little something in. It's not too much different in tone to the yellow actually. It looks just like the yellow, but it looks okay. You wouldn't know that they were two different shades once they're on the eyes. Which in the pan they look so different. That's really opening up the corners of the eye there. I love a matte inner corner highlight. Right, so that's the look to this point. Just gonna hop off camera for something in my waterline, mascara and a lip, and I'll be back with you zoomed out with the finished look. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. Really love how it came out. I think it's amazing how much difference some eyeliner, mascara, a bit of a colour in the waterline and a lip makes to a look, because when I was finishing off the look with you guys on camera I was like, don't know if I like this one, don't know if I can save it, but I really love how it looks now. So to finish it off, it's just NYX Epic Ink Liner in black, and then just my Nars Climax mascara. In my waterline I've gone in with Happy Mood from LH Cosmetics, just wanted a bit of yellow just to echo what's on the lids there. And then I've gone in with a grey lip because I love a grey lip. There's just not enough opportunities in the world to wear grey, and whenever I find one I've got to do it. This is the only decent grey lipstick I've got. It's Werewolf by LASplash. It's from their classic horror collection. I'm not sure you can get this one anymore. I think they relabeled or named the classic horror ones. I don't know if they're still available. I've had this one years and it's still pretty good, you know, the formula's not dried out. Really impressed with these, I really love them. And there's just some really weird and unusual colours which I'm all about. So yeah, I really like how it turned out, just as I'm like blinking here and just seeing that flash of yellow on the lids. I think it looks really pretty. Just not used to doing an all matte look. They do look a little less opaque on the lids, but yeah, it's still a vibe. I'm still, as I say, really enjoyed it. So the 420 palette then, well, I didn't use too many of the shades to be fair, so I can't like give it too much of a review, but I would say Shotgun and Wax, the two lighter shades. They look very similar when they're on the eyes, which you wouldn't think so looking at them in the pan. But I loved that Chronic shade. As soon as I opened the palette, I was like, I've got to use that shade. It's that grungy, greeny grey colour that I really like. I can live without the more rusty tones, but it's these unusual tones that really get me, and I really thought that colour works so well in the crease. It's the standout shade in the palette, so I'll return to the palette for that, if for nothing else. But I hope it inspired you, if you own this palette, to pull it out. It's really not as bad as people have made it out to be. Sometimes you've got to remember, when people are filming a YouTube video, they want to get views, they want you to click on that thumbnail. So saying, oh my god, this is the worst palette ever, you know, that's what gets people to be curious. People love negativity, people want to see that. So sometimes you've got to think of all of that, you know. People don't try to show you how you can work with a palette that you've probably spent your money on to get like the best out of it and to get the best look out of it. It is pretty fallout heavy, but I find that with all melt palettes. So tap your brush off, build it and build it up, rather than going in hard with the colour. And I think a lot of people don't like to do that now. They want to like pack on the colour and then blend, but I find with melt you'll just have a rain of fallout all over your cheeks if you do that, whichever palette you go for from them. So you just have to learn to adapt up your technique depending on the type of formula that it is. It's a very powdery formula, but the colour choices in here are a little bit unique, a little bit different, and yeah, I'm actually really glad I've got it in my collection, and I'm sad that I took like nearly 2 years to try it. So if you're like me and it's sat there gathering dust, don't be put off by all those bad reviews that it got. If you've bought it, use it, because as I say, I don't think it's nearly as bad as everybody has been saying. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing some inspiration with the palette, and I'm going to perhaps pop a poll up on my community tab. I've got a number of palettes, as I say, are quite old that I've never used, so I'll put a poll up between say 2 palettes and let you guys choose what I use for the next one, for my finally using that palette kind of video, because I want to make that in a series as well, so I can start using some of these really old ones from the past. I've never had any love in my collection. But if you're new to my channel, I hope you enjoyed this video and you might consider subscribing. Just thank you all for watching. I hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye guys.